Okay. We're starting
So it's Monday,
3 minutes early because we got a lot of stuff. Um, as you know, our Friday was last Wednesday, and I was still trying to, and I think a lot of people were still trying to figure out what had just happened, why it, well, I think we knew why it happened, and some people went on TV and internet and right away, and some people were doing crazy stuff like the liberals and Democrats doing. And it took me until Friday to write a song about it. So that's out there. We'll put out there. And then today, I'm still looking at stuff on the internet, and I'm looking at old Charlie Kirk videos. Now I understand Milo is coming out of retirement, and we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff. So what do you have to say, Alan?
Well, 70 to 90% of the blind, low vision, visual, I mean, all that stuff,
Yeah,
otherwise disabled. We try to hit everybody here on innervisionrecords.org. That's www.innervisionrecords.org. Uh, you can actually email Johnny directly, actually, kind of give you
yeah.
some public access to him. Go ahead and do that at Johnny.
Johnny at innervisionrecords.org. That's Johnny at innervisionrecords.org. If you want
That's
to be
Johnny
on the
with an
show,
IE too.
yes.
So it's, yeah.
If you want to be on the show, email me that. If you have suggestions about the show, do that. Leave a super chat, down there. Leave a super chat. Leave
So,
some comments. Sometimes
so
we get likes, we get like a lot of views, but we really want your feedback.
we've
We want,
extended the donut campaign till Halloween, so check that out, www.innervisionrecords.org. We've also got some recording artists, Mike Johnson, Never Derailed,
Mhm.
fairly new album release. And
Yeah,
so check that out on Spotify. Apple is actually best. I like Apple
yeah.
because what it does is it gives the recording artist a whole penny.
Yes.
Got to get rich, rich one penny at a time. A
Yes.
penny's a penny, folks.
And then
You'll
Johnny
find all.
J, yeah, Johnny
Go,
J AI crew with spelled with the K, crew. And the album is Experience, and then we're also putting out uh Pray for the Families of the Fallen. That's the album that's coming out with the song about Charlie Kirk and
yeah, yeah.
Arena
That's right.
topic.
Arena Yapovic Zipo. I can't
Yeah,
remember the name, but
Miss Z.
lady, a couple of few days ago, a Ukrainian lady, check that story out.
Mm.
It's wow. I
Yeah.
don't even
And I was surprised
prayers.
that they were talking about it at our church because we have a lot of, and this is kind of weird. When you say liberals in church, it's bizarre.
Well, see, check this out. There are people of all likes and styles of people, just like there are vehicles, or just like there are clothing. Everything is unique still. We still have our individuality that
Yeah.
has to be preserved.
And like when you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And if you're a Bible reading, church going person, and you believe in some of the stuff that the Democrats are doing and believe, is totally opposite of what God preaches. Totally opposite.
One thing we do have to also keep in mind is there are those that don't believe in God, and that's okay. We understand. So there are things that are universally true. The things that all humankind really, at a gut level, at a heart level, um, understand. And that's what we're here to try to address because not only in the music industry and film industry does the gatekeeping stuff happen so that music might be shelved. Let's say, for instance, a bunch of blind folk, they want a couple of blind folk out there, like Stevie Wonder and some other folks, Ray Charles, and the old names. But do we hear anything about some of the new names? Well, we here at Innervision records.org, Innervision FM Universe, that's us, folks. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, toss a comment down below. We we try to put these guys at the forefront. I mean, disabled folks are really at a disadvantage with that unemployment rate. And on September 5th, there was a Braille grant cut that affected three specific areas in California, Massachusetts. I can't remember the other state, but on the 5th of September, that got passed, and that's going to potentially cause even greater disadvantage because if you can't read Braille, then you can't get a job. I mean, or
Right.
it's even more important than this. It doesn't even have to do with the Braille issue because, oh, sure, it's easy to take six eggs, six hard boiled eggs, put them in a carton and learn yourself some Braille, some Google. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out.
Mm.
But what is difficult is finding the other resources that the Braille grants encompassed. And so I built a tool, and it's going to be available real soon at a website that I've got. And it's old and creaky, kind of like me, but I didn't start it. I didn't create it. I didn't do any of it. I was just asked to go ahead and, well, now it's mine. So I'm going to make it mine. I'm going to put the mission protocol of getting the 70 90% of the blind, low vision, otherwise disabled on that website. I'll roll that website out here once I'm done. But you can check out some of the old stuff at www.accountabilityrevolution.com. I'm sorry. It's real strong coffee. Like I said, I didn't make it, but I will archive that stuff just for historical purposes because some of that stuff you want to do some deep dive research into. In fact, that's going to bring us to the rest of the show. So let's go into some of the topics you
Okay.
picked out.
This is going to be a visual. That's going to be at the Dirty Dog. Uh, let's see, is it Dirty Dog, Dirty Dog Row House. Now, I met this guy by accident. We had ordered some speakers, but they were like entirely too big,
Yeah,
you know, too big. And I said, I got to get rid of these speakers and get me something more reasonable. And this guy said, I own a bar and I could use speakers like that. So I let him come in. He came to my house and I plugged them in, let him hear them. And this guy took both of those speakers in his arm and said, yeah, because you open up the door, push the elevator button. And I said, I'm getting old because I can't
right.
imagine picking up these two big speakers the way this guy did. And, and I said, whoa,
There's some
put
big
me to
dudes out
shame.
there. I'll tell you what, man.
And
There's a friend of mine that I used to have. He would put those speakers one on each shoulder and just
gee, I couldn't believe. But anyway, so this candlelight visual is going to be there, and I think it's going to be this Sunday at 2 o'clock after some kind of church service. They're going to have 500 candles. So if you don't have one, or if you don't want to bring your own, they have at least 500. So they'll give you the candle. And I
That's
got
probably one of those LED, one of those candles. You don't have to light them and stuff. Who knows?
yeah.
All
So
right. So anyway,
so that's happening, and there's a link. Charlie, let's see, no, this guy named from KNUS and Tom Tancredo. It's going to be there. I know if you did a search on it, you can find it. And I think I have the link. Well, the link might be in there
got to
because
toss that down at the bottom after the show. Don't
yeah,
forget to set the timestamps,
yeah,
outro, all that neat stuff. It's actually important for the algorithm. You can
mm,
find out all this stuff by signing up for the newsletter. This way, we can help you out. Whatever
mm,
sort of musical talent you got or content creation, that kind of thing. Yeah, we at least show you how to navigate some of the digital landscape, especially search engine optimization. That's going to be really important. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interject there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to go back because when I was in Alan, it was a little bit different because he was into this stuff long before I even realized a lot of stuff was going on. And I love history, but I didn't realize because I couldn't go to the library or get someone to come with me and read a lot of books that I had questions, but I didn't have the right questions. And when we had social security classes, even in junior high, I mean, they would show videos and stuff like that, but I just didn't have the right questions because I've always felt like, man, I'm just getting here. I don't know why people at the time hated me for skin color and all that kind of stuff. I didn't understand what was going on and what did I do to these people. And it was like I was just kind of figuring it out. And then my parents, they weren't telling us much of anything. They just said, don't trust this person. No. I'm thinking like, but why? Because I knew some good people and then I knew these other people. And I needed to figure out are these other people this way and why are these people this way? They look physically the same, but they act totally different. And being that my mother grew up in the church and her dad was a Baptist preacher, she could have explained there's a spiritual component to this, that evil and good. But instead, she wanted to put it in physical terms. And then you find out that not all people that look like this are evil. So it has to be, but so she wasn't able to go deeper than a physical thing.
It's funny because growing up as a biker and stuff, I got to uh, hear about all the poker runs, or all the muscular dystrophy runs, or
Hmm.
the kids that maybe got leukemia and weren't able to make it, and what the you know grieving parents did for those children after they passed on, because they left a lasting mark. And so I thought that everybody acted altruistically and benevolently. So, and I was made to be mistaken. This is definitely life stuff in the West,
Yeah. And
and
then,
in the
okay.
East, and
Yeah.
North South.
So I want to go back now because now that I'm older and I could think about this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So Abraham Lincoln said, hey, we gotta have this war, but the war didn't really start about slavery. It started, and this is what I learned later on, it started because the North was charging tariffs, high tariffs on the South products coming in. And they got tired of it. So they said, we're going to fight about this because we want lower prices for our products going to the North. So that started the war. But then somehow it got switched over to, well, not only are we going to fight about this, but we're going to fight about slavery because Abraham Lincoln was saying, hey, we got to stop this lifestyle that you guys from the South had started with the slavery and the guys from slavery. And okay, and we're going to bring it under the basis. If the guy wife says, honey, I have a headache. I don't feel like sex. He can just go in the back, get him one of these black chicks, have his sex, and then
Whoa,
start
whoa,
having
whoa.
mulatto kids, right? Then when these kids got older, and they were the house inwards, and he couldn't send them to school with his white kids. So then they started up the Negro College so he could put his mulatto kids into those schools, and it would appear on the surface that he's being so gracious to black people, but it was really that he wanted his mulatto kids to have the same kind of education, but they just couldn't have it in the same classroom.
So it's
Okay.
interesting because there was an era that was going on. It's kind of like what my silly website at www.accountabilityrevolution kind of looks like, .com kind of looks like. It's www.accountabilityrevolution.com. It looks like a snapshot of what people thought back in those days.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was interesting because some of the folks from the South looked at this as a war of northern aggression, they called it, because the textile industry was interwoven with a bunch of stuff, and they wanted the quote nationalism or federalist interpretation of everything. They wanted everything one united nation kind of thing. And the Southern folks understood things to be differently, uh, and it was tolerated, it was accepted. And so when the GOP, Grand Old Party, was formed, it, well, the original, I would submit, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but do your own historical research. But I would submit maybe the Constitution itself was jacked with, and some folks decided, we got a good thing here. We can't have a good thing. We gotta fix it, make it better.
Right.
So
Okay. So I'm getting to the point of like complicit
yes,
being.
yes,
So after Booth had shot and killed Abraham Lincoln, then Johnson, who was a Democrat who hated black people, he's from the South, he hated them, right?
right,
Then he takes over because it was I wrote a song about Abraham Lincoln would invite Booker T. Washington. He would invite Frederick Douglass
Frederick
in the front
Douglass,
door.
right, right.
Johnson said, "Why are you
Why are you inviting that
inviting those black people in the front door? They should come through the
through
kitchen
the
like all the
kitchen?
other people,
Yeah,
right?"
yeah.
And he
Isn't that
hated
crazy?
that Abraham Lincoln was treating black people normal, right? And not the status quo of the Southern man. Uh, and it, so when he was out of the picture, and he had sent Abraham Lincoln put orders to send troops down there to teach these black people how to read, to give them the 40 acres and a mule so they can have land to
Well,
plow and all that kind of stuff. When he
uh,
was out of the picture, Johnson says, "Hey, we're going to go back to the good old days. We're
I
going
also got
to
the
roll that back."
American Native perspective on this
Oh,
because my family, on my mom's side was Blackfoot, Apache, and Comanche. I don't remember.
oh,
And my mom's dead, so I can't ask her no more. I'll have to ask my uncle if I can still find him.
right.
But anyway,
But how did he affect the Native Americans? Did he do
oh,
the
dude,
same
dude,
things?
dude, there
Give us
are
some stories. Come on. Give
horrific
us
stories.
give us some
So,
stories. Come on. Let's put it out there because people this is not in the history book.
so children would get literally taken from their parents and put in quote white people schools, da da da, this, that, and the other. You can check this stuff out for yourself. In
Oh
fact,
yeah, these boarding
I would
schools.
encourage you to do some deep dive research in the Innervision FM universe and tell us what you find in the comments for yourself. I'm not going to lead you down no damn garden path. I ain't. Just do the research for yourself.
Right.
Uh, type in American natives. Type in what's a good another search term to use? Historical reference schools for children. How children were treated.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, on the black side, if you became educated, a lot of the people would start calling you Oreo, right? Because you're
you know,
chocolate on the outside, white inside. And for the Native Americans, they called them apples,
apples. What?
right? So, I mean, I learned about those terms when
Wow.
Native Americans started becoming educated and so forth because they were forced to go to these boarding schools to
If this is the type of
so-called.
stuff you like to subscribe to, don't forget to subscribe because that's our
Mm,
bread and butter. And when you
mm,
like and share these videos, they reach more people. It
oh yeah.
forces the algorithm to toss this stuff out there. This is the place where we talk about everything. But we do also, like I said, we promote musicians
Oh yeah.
and recording artists, other content creators. If you're a songwriter, if you're a story writer, if you like poetry, hit Johnny up at Johnny with an IE at innervisionrecords.org. And
Mhm.
yeah, check that out, man. It'll be a lot of fun. www.innervisionrecords.org got donuts until Halloween time,
Right.
just in time for the winter, because boy, there's nothing better than a cup of coffee and some nice
Good.
donuts. So
Yeah.
check that
And
stuff out there. There's ways to donate, Cash App, PayPal or something, or
yeah,
Venmo, or
Cash
however you
App,
want to do it.
dollar
So,
sign, Innervision, and then capital J. But it's just as a side note, Tom McDonald's, he's writing songs that really are in your face. Now he
yeah,
has his perspective, and he's not writing it as a Christian contemporary thing. So I have my perspective too. So I'm writing it mostly no cuss words and all that kind of stuff.
right.
But putting some of the historical things that I have found. So
That's
like
interesting.
yeah, so Johnson starts to roll back the 10-year plan that the federal government had went down there to help the blacks get get a leg up and go forward. And then it
Right.
was a lot of black Republicans that were voting. But then when they reversed it, then the Democrats started intimidating them and said, "Now you got to vote for these white Democrats to take over your seats." And then eventually they kicked all the black people out of those seats. And then that's when you had the Jim Crow laws came in, put on by Democrats.
And
Then
the
you had
Republicans were just complicit with it because
complicit.
of the time,
Yes.
the era, the it's kind of like that www.accountabilityrevolution.com website. So it's old and it's creaky. It's stuff that has to be looked at and addressed and archived for past historical reference so that we
Okay.
can look at this stuff and say, look, we came from here. Let's go into the future.
Now, you have to understand, okay, so the government has always done bad things to American people
Sure.
and said, well, it's just the way it is, whatever. And
Right.
every 4 years, there's flip,
Yep. Whether
or
it's Republican or Democrat.
okay, right. And so you have these hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Oh, never mind. Forget this guy. This guy is bugging me about wanting to add bots to our channel, and I'm not down for it. I want real people. Um, so you had this complicity where the Republicans step back and say, "Oh, well, we can't," and maybe they were right in that, being that if we freedom is not free, and you got to fight. Sometimes you got to fight for freedom. Well, let's go even further back. Remember in the book of Numbers, in Exodus, when Moses got the Egyptians out of Egypt, and then they started complaining, saying, "We had it better back there. We had free this, free that." And Moses says, "Wait a minute. Freedom is now. You're not getting cucumbers and stuff like that, but you're getting manna from heaven." And they wanted to go back to the free stuff, and that's why, and Charlie Kirk talks about this. That's why that generation had to die out, because they wanted freedom for free, and freedom is not free. And when God said, "Go into that country, wipe out everybody, and take the land over," that was because I I delivered you from this country where you weren't free. You had supposedly all this free stuff, but you were a slave and you were complicit in that. But I don't want you to be complicit. I don't want you to be a slave. And I needed to let the whole generation of complicit to die out, and then a new generation where Moses and Joshua had to train them to be non-slaves, not to want free stuff. And I thought that was so interesting the way he laid that out. And I think that's why the left hated this guy because he laid it out so simple and he got people thinking.
I don't know because I've not bothered to there's so much information and so much data that it is difficult to keep up on
Oh yeah.
everything. So I don't even know.
I
I don't
spent the
even know.
weekend.
I
I
don't even
submerged
know.
myself in this stuff because I was already listening to Charlie Kirk, and then I just submerged more about what he was saying. And this one I found out by accident. I listened to Shooting the Breeze with Karen on KLZ radio. It comes on that from two to the, and she pulled out this video, and I was gonna call it to show it by so quickly. And she found this where Charlie Kirk was just talking about like Exodus and that it was in the book of Numbers, and he said that that book is not named. It shouldn't be named the book of Numbers. He said it should be called something else, but they just gave it that name. But the other name would have been more was more related to the Hebrew meaning of the name. And I gotta go find that. I'm gonna go find that video. But when I
Let's
heard,
tie this together then, Johnny, since you are blind and since you are indeed black as well.
mm,
Uh, you know, the idea is that Charlie Kirk was mentioning. Is that his name, Charlie
yeah,
Kirk, or did he go by
Charlie, no,
Charles? Or
no, Charlie Kirk.
so Charlie Kirk was apparently mentioning, and I heard some of his quotes uh, on, gosh, probably YouTube. Who knows?
Mm,
But they were dealing with black people directly. They
mm,
were dealing with qualification, but
yes.
they were framed in such a way as to I wouldn't trust. Oh man, there's certain quotes that I looked at and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to study
Mm.
this. Why?
Okay.
I
It
don't
was a
have the
black guy.
time.
I could tell you, it was a black guy. He was saying that he wanted to be hired based on his skin color. And Charlie Kirk was saying, whether not, you shouldn't be looking to be hired because of your skin color. Be hired because you're the best. And that's what my parents taught us. They say, you got to be they all said, oh, you got to be 3 times the best. But it's that the main point was be the best you can. And even Martin Luther King said, if you're a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper there is. And
Right.
you don't want a doctor cutting into your body because he's a certain color. You want the best doctor. You don't want someone who is just there because of his skin color, and that's a part of like nepotism. We've already been there, we've done that, and
So
you get
there's an
these.
interesting thing that that brings me to is the 1964 Civil Rights Act, I believe.
Hmm,
Charlie Kirk was apparently not in favor of any of that.
hmm.
What do you say as a black guy on that? Because
Well,
that would affect not just black
okay,
people, but blind
okay.
people.
I gotta tell you this. Okay, before all this integration and civil rights thing coming, civil rights, well, protection, I would guess, but there were uh, towns of black people that had black bus companies, black cab companies, black store owners. But when it became integrated, so for some reason, these brainwashed black people started saying, well, okay, you went to a store and you bought a block of ice. But he would go
Right.
across the street to the white guy's store and say, well, his ice is colder. But when he wasn't allowed to, a black ice produced by a black store and ice produced by a white store were equal, and one wasn't better than the other. So there was a lot of like these, and I think that in a human economy, there's a lot of people that want to belong, and then there are people like myself. I could care less about belonging to your group. I just want to be me. I don't need to be a part of your group, even if it's Republicans or whatever. I don't need to be a part of your group. I just want to be me.
See, there is a parallel within the blindness community as well with the NFB and the ACB and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Hmm. And where they say like you want to be a part of this group and you have to act and do the things that this group says over here.
Yeah, and then there are the independent blind who just kind of want to ride their own wave and do their own thing. That don't want to belong to either one of them. I worked for
Yeah.
the NFB once, and I was the program manager for the current national president. It's actually a small world. I don't have them on speed dial, but y'all, 70, 90% unemployment rate, man, that's BS.
That's
And
ridiculous.
the Braille cuts, man, those happened on September 5th. They're not
Hmm.
uh they're not potentially going to happen. They already done did it.
Hmm.
So check out IDEA. Just toss that stuff in Google. IDEA deals with education. So IDEA, Department of Education. I'll get all the research data to you, Johnny. And what you'll want to do is you want to you want to make an unbiased. What I mean by that is like zeros and ones kind of
Hmm.
analysis on this. I've got the tables, I've got the charts, I've got all the stuff that vocational rehabilitation needs. I've got stuff for employment specialists. So I think what I'm trying to tell folks here is this. We are set and we are live. So you stay tuned to intervisionrecords.org and our content. What we're going to do is we're going to put this particular issue on the map because hey, whatever happened to Charlie Kirk, whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I will tell you this: there's a 70, 90% unemployment rate, and it's got to be addressed. And the way to address it is not to eliminate grants for Braille. That will not be optimal for our success, and in the long run, it won't be optimal for the success of the United States of America. Look, here's the bottom line: we're not just talking about 3 million people here. We're talking about 56, 66 additional million folks that could potentially be affected because this is the otherwise disabled and senior citizens community. So if they can do this one thing, go ahead and just sort of because of a policy, just kind of eliminate it just because, well, that could
Okay. What
potentially
we need,
happen to anybody.
yeah, what we need is a Charlie Kirk, female or male, in the blind community to debate DVR. Because when the lady told
Yeah.
me with a little chuckle in her voice that, oh, we don't have to pay you your invoice, and we have up to 45 days in
No,
order
that
to
is the
pay you.
legal that is the cold logic of the system, and you have to actually wait that full amount of days before you can really talk to them. Now, what you can do in that 45-day time frame is thank them, send them thank you letters. Hey, thanks for collaborating with us, and we look forward to that impending yada yada on such and such, thus and so date.
And they finally processed the paper last Thursday, but
So
it
you're
has not
fine.
hit. It hasn't hit the bank account.
Uh,
So I'm not
well,
finding until that hits the bank account and
nah,
I can see
that
the
happens.
physical bill. Now I understand. I see now why when because I used to study like people if you're working with the government that
Yeah.
they would have to take the written note saying
Yes.
that you're going to receive this
Yeah.
money from the government
Yes.
and you would have to get a loan out
Yeah.
and then when you
And then
once you
once you
got the
get
money
yep,
you pay off that
then
loan.
you pay the loan
So this
with
has been going
interest.
on.
By the way,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's
So
a lot of fun. A lot of
yeah.
fun.
So
It's a
I now
beautiful thing.
I understand what they were doing because I mean sometimes the government would say, oh, just like I got this government grant July 8th of was it yeah last year, and the money didn't get to me into a nonprofit until the 25th of October. I sort of understood that when whenever you're dealing with the government, nobody gets fired, at least maybe not now, and they can screw around with you and do these things to you, and there's no consequences. There's no, well, let me talk to your supervisor, because you talk to the supervisor, and the supervisor, what are they going to do? Because they're
That
complicit in this policy.
that's exactly why if there were distributed accountability network nodes or hubs of information scattered throughout the whole business sector as well as the whole governance sector, we'd have a better handle on things and we'd be able to kind of address this unemployment rate. So stay tuned to
Yeah.
intervisionrecords.org for all these
Oh,
things because we're going to have us some fun in the next few months.
oh, Jack Osborne. Okay, Jack, let's see.
Jack
Jack
Pacific,
Osborne. Yeah, he's going to be doing a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. It's a tribute to him. Pink Floyd, 50 years of Wish You Were Here. That album
that was the other
is that,
day,
yeah.
yesterday or
And,
neat. Yeah,
and
that came out. Wish You Were Here was really cool because it was a tribute to Sid Barrett. Do the research on that. That was a lot of fun. Sid Barrett wasn't so kind to himself and kind of
yeah.
took a trip and didn't quite come back to the farm.
Now this next one, I heard that Steven Tyler was having throat problems, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure how he's going to do this tribute to Ozzy. But it's Steven and Tyler, then Joe Perry and Young Blood. Yeah, is that a rapper? That sounds like
Youngblood? Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
a rapper. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we honor Ozzy at the
Yeah.
okay. What else? Okay, and I wanted to do that because we are music news, but I mean today it's a little bit different because like I said, I really dug what Charlie was doing, and now Milo, he's coming back because
Wow, dude.
he's coming back. But I looked at some of Milo's stuff, and
Yeah.
Milo, he's pretty sharp, and
Yeah.
and he will approach it at a different. It's almost like, okay, Charlie said Marlowe was one version, then Charlie Kirk came in, and then that's a version. Now it seems like we're going back to the Milo effect. And I was watching some of the Milo videos, and after you've seen Charlie's videos, I don't know, man. I sort of like dig Charlie's a little bit more because this one kid, he was
Milo's a little strong coffee, I'll tell you that.
it's this one kid, he had his phone up and he was reading off these stats. Charlie Kirk had no phone. He says, "Put the phone down, look me in the eye, and let's talk." And the kid said, "Well, I can't talk without my phone." And Charlie says, "No, you're a college student. You're 21 years old. You
Actually, I
have a
find this
brain."
to be interesting because I could draw a parallel right now to, boy, I'm going to use AI to do this and do this. Hey, do you remember that email that you got earlier? Here's a good example. Everything checked out. Everything looked great. Everything looked like you were going to get your pants sued right off of innervisionrecords.org. Just visit
Hmm.
www.innervisionrecords.org. We look at
Yeah.
this email. Everything looks perfect. There's even a phone call. There's even a way to give this guy a phone call and talk to him directly. I'm thinking, sure, let's open collaboration with the. Wait, where's this coming from? I looked at the email address. I looked at the law stuff, the legal stuff. And I looked at the email address, and I looked at the okay law firm. Okay, it's a good law firm. All right. I looked at the email address, and I'm thinking,
Hmm.
eh, Yeah, no.
All right. Yeah, it wasn't the office name email. It was just a generic
Yeah, it was
Gmail.
just a personal email.
Like,
It's just like, dude, that looks perfect, except, uh, and
yeah,
all you got to do is go to your professional dashboard anyway, reference that date, do a timestamp search,
mm,
and see if you actually use that video. If you
yeah.
use that video, take it the fuck down. I mean,
Or he may want me to click on that to infect my computer with a
no,
virus.
not the go to your dashboard on Facebook,
Oh,
right?
right.
And look for that specific song title video.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Look for the timestamp that can verify or not that you used it. If you used it, take it down.
Yeah. But I have a feeling I didn't use it because even when we were doing like Wayne's Little Hater song, that was
Well,
something
yeah,
we
we'd
owe.
already get flack
Yeah.
for that, and that was even your song. I
Yeah.
mean, that was even your stuff. I mean, you had all the IRSC codes or whatever the heck
Yeah.
IRCS codes
Yeah.
or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you can learn all this stuff here at www.innervisionrecords.org because I will tell you this, we want to keep the independent recording artists, music and content creator, and AI music creator protected,
Mm.
keep them safe. We want to get
Uh,
these disabled folks some employment.
okay.
Disabled folks like me, like Johnny, and
Mm.
we got it. We're okay, but there are those that don't have hope, and we want to provide that hope.
All right. Hey, and we'll provide that cash as well. Hey, we're like 9 minutes. We started 3 minutes early and now we're 10 minutes over. So this is one of our
You
long
get one of the
plays,
bonus length shows, yeah.
but we're going to be getting you the shorts and we'll hook this show up to that so you know where those shorts came from. And we appreciate
One
you
cool
guys.
thing is as well is to enable the transcripts on each video that you do so that folks can follow along with the transcripts. It's
Nice.
really helpful, and it's just a tool that's built into YouTube. So go to your dashboard there, Johnny, and
Nice.
check that out.
All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow with another Innervision FM music news and sometimes political news as well, right?